Okay. Welcome to the Cow Pasture Stewardship Committee meeting. We are calling this meeting to order at 5:30 on Thursday, March 20th. Let me just pull up the agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? You had,
Yes, I would like to add Stephanie Olson and Tim with the exploratory technology class at the Central Vermont Career Center.
okay. Should we do that as the first
That would be
business
my
item?
recommendation.
So that,
Yeah,
So we don't have to wait.
okay, and we have Stephanie, we have somebody else here calling in. If you could just introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, I'm Tim. I'm the other co-teacher with Steph Olson.
Great, welcome, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Tim,
Thank
can you
you.
remind me what your last name is? Is it?
It's Hammond, Hammond.
Thank you.
Great.
And then we have Amanda,
Oh, and,
our city
yeah.
council liaison.
Yeah.
On virtually also.
yeah, thank you. Okay. Who wants to read the communication agreement?
I have it here. Okay, mission statement: to connect people to the place in ways that allow recreation, exploration, collaboration, and stewardship of the cow pasture. We affirm pursuing stewardship of the cow pasture has many dimensions, including a positive group process. Thus, we adopt the following agreements for all forms of communication: verbal, written, email, etc. 1, we value what each person has to offer. Please come prepared to participate fully. 2, all relevant ideas are welcome. Pursuit of ideas will be based on feasibility and support of the group. Only present ideas that you are willing to carry forward personally. Consensus agreement will be sought. Only block consensus when you cannot live with a decision going forward. Seek first to understand and then respond with kindness and respect. Observe the 3 C's. Keep contributions concise, constructive, and connected to the group's purpose. Share the floor and be open to responding, even if you disagree. And the footnote is, while consensus decision-making is important to this committee, it is recognized some decisions are time-sensitive and do not lend themselves to consensus decision-making. Therefore, permission is granted to the local leader to make decisions that clearly align with the group's mission statement and management plan. When possible, consulting with other active members is advised.
Thank you. And I see we have another member from the community join. Jim, will you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jim Willard. I live over on Smith Street, and I was just popping in here just to see what it's all about. I hike up there every so often.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining us. That reminds me, we should probably add to the agenda item, a regular item, to have members from the public just introduce them when they pop in.
Guest introductions.
Guest introductions,
Yeah.
so, and public comment as well. Okay, thank you for that. So I think before we have Stephanie's agenda item, we should introduce Emily Hoffman. Thank you for joining the committee. It's always great to see new people.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
And interrupt if you have any questions. We try to follow Robert's rules as much as possible. Sometimes we slip up, but we try to have a regular process, so. And don't be shy about calling any of the chairs or the facilitators out if we mess it up, because
As we do.
we do, and we help each other, so, feel free, nobody's offended at that. Did you wanna say anything?
I just love the cow pasture, and I'm really happy to be part of the group of people that help support it, so.
Yeah. And
Welcome.
okay, so the new agenda item is, Stephanie.
Do we want to do approval of minutes?
Oh, approval. Oh, see? Yes, we do. Can I have a motion? Okay, Mark made a motion. Emily, second? to approve the minutes. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from January 16th? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Okay, now Stephanie, you're up.
Awesome, thank you. So my name is Stephanie Olson. We have Tim here as well. We both co-teach the Exploratory Technology program at the Central Vermont Career Center. Exploratory technology is a little bit of everything. We're getting our students ready to go into a trade and a program that they want to go into for their 11th grade year. A big part, a huge part of our curriculum is service learning. I've got a background in conservation ecology, and Tim lives near the cow pasture and is an advocate for conservation as well. We're both very outdoorsy, and I think it was 4 years ago we decided to reach out to the cow pasture to see if we can do some work with invasive plants. When I worked for the Montpelier Parks Department, that was part of my job, was to lead groups and to teach them about invasive management and control and how to do it without using harsh chemicals. It was a huge hit when we first did this project. It's a 2-week long unit for us where it's not just going out and doing the work. We want our students to understand what is invasive species, what is the impact, what can they do about it. And it's pretty eye-opening for them. It was such a huge hit for our students in that first year, and it's become kind of like a legacy project. And we would love to continue that partnership with the cow pasture. Again, part of our 2 weeks is during the first week learning about the different invasives, but we bring them out there and we do a hike around the cow pasture. We talk a lot about the history of the cow pasture. We also spend a good chunk of the week looking at the management plan for the Barre cow pasture. And they get to read the document, they learn what is a management plan. And we talk a lot about foresters, and it's a really eye-opening and a really intense academic kind of feat for them. But they go out, we identify the different invasives that first week in a hike. And then the second week we actually go out there. In the past, we've done 2 days of pulling honeysuckle and buckthorn and winged euonymus. One year the kids also decided they wanted to continue, and we did a 3rd day out there, which was awesome to see that our students really got involved and wanted to keep working at this project. Our students really get a lot out of this, and it's something that is kind of it's so unique to our program and so important to our students. We've got 24 kids this year, so it's a big group. They've got a lot of energy, and they're just a great group of kids. Tim, do you want to add anything?
No, you pretty much said everything. Just that I do the cow pasture. I'm up there with my dogs and my family. We watch the eclipse up there. It's a special place, and I'm lucky that I work with a teacher that's so knowledgeable to be able to facilitate a unit like this and incorporate that into our service learning proficiencies at our school. Yeah, it's just been a great experience all around, and we appreciate you being part of that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. What's your timing, Stephanie, ideally?
Great question. So for timing, let me grab my calendar.
I have it here.
Oh, you have it?
Stephanie.
Okay.
I think he says April 7th through the 18th is your block. And then April 11th, a hike correct me if I'm wrong, I've got it written here for the minutes. And then April 17th and 18th, invasive removal.
Yes, and we have our students, we're really lucky to have them from 8:30 until 12:30. So it's a really good chunk of time. So absolutely, we were thinking Friday the 11th getting to the cow pasture at like 9:15, 9:30, so that we could walk the land. We can look at some of those historical spots, look at the rock walls, find that maple tap, talk a little bit about the different species and identify them out there and have a little scavenger hunt. And then having them the 17th and the 18th, probably, that's a Thursday, Friday, out there doing the work. And that we same timeline, we would probably be getting there at like 9:30, and probably leaving the cow pasture, like getting on the bus at 11:45, 12 o'clock, so we can get the kiddos back for dismissal.
And you had, for the hike, you had company, right? Chris, did you go on the hike last time when they did this?
Susan offered to,
Oh.
and she's offering again to
Great.
coordinate with you,
Okay.
Stephanie. I think she met you up there, at one
Yes.
point, and then I met you at, the last day, or maybe it was like the extra day that you did last year. So Susan will be coordinating with you. What I'm wondering is, like, we've never really, other than putting this in our minutes and having a city representative in the meeting, we've never really notified the city of this. So I'm just wondering if, Amanda, you have any, other than what we've been doing in the past, if we should be doing something different in regard to notifying the city council. If that's not easy.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't know, but I will check in and follow up on that and get you an answer. I can think of reasons for and I can think of reasons against right now off the top of my head, but I can certainly follow up on it.
And I
And
do believe that Nicholas was at a meeting before, and I can't confirm that, but, he didn't mention anything, assuming that I'm correct and that he was at a meeting that this was discussed, so.
And it's great work, so I
Yeah.
can't see them not supporting it.
Yeah, or just notifying them somehow, but.
Are you concerned about liability or?
No, just
Okay.
letting them know
Because
that
it
this
is,
is going,
right.
just letting
Right.
them know that this is going on
Yeah.
in case
Okay.
anyone has questions.
And just
Yeah,
to point out, so at the Career Center, safety is a really big thing for us. All of our students, myself and Tim, are, again, all 24 students are OSHA 10 certified, which is awesome. They get that certification from our program. And it's mandatory that as our kids are doing this, they have to wear safety glasses.
Right?
I think it would be an opportunity to really talk it up afterwards to the city council meeting, just to promote what the
they're doing,
tech
yeah.
center does.
Yeah,
So I think that might be a nice thing when you're done, and maybe take some pictures. And, well, those are public meetings. I assume you have releases, right, for the kids?
We do. All of our student have photo releases, and
Okay.
just with any field trips, we do notify parents 48 hours in advance of when we're leaving our center.
Yeah.
And we have a blanket permission slip form that's signed that allows our students to go off site.
And they're
Yeah.
just, and it's not just a photo, it's media release, so we can do video and print as well.
I do want to comment in that I have been wanting to update the city website for the cow pasture committee, and we've been welcome to send any photos or anything, and I just haven't had the time. But there is somebody who is a media specialist. I'm just suggesting this might be a nice project to start off in talking with Chris Kirby and kind of updating our website with photos that kind of depict all the stuff that the committee does and partners with the friends of the committee. So I'll just throw that out there as a suggestion.
I was just thinking about like a blog with like stories, stories and photos of different things happening at the cow pasture. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
We also have an Instagram account too.
We do, and I also have a lot from the 4 year, this will be year 4. I have a lot of photos of students working. So if you want access to those, please let me know. I also have, which was kind of fun last year, we experimented with a time lapse video of students going at this little area and removing three really large honeysuckles, and it was a lot of fun. So if you want any of those, please let me know and I can send some along.
That would be great. Yeah, and just keep us, whenever you have to go and talk about, getting enthusiasm for the budget and whatever for the tech center. I think we could probably come and help you. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'd be happy to come and talk and just talk about the benefits of it too. So let's just not let this be a one-time thing, but kind of think about opportunities, how we can help you all as well. Just, drum up some excitement for it and get people to know what you're doing as well.
We would
So,
love that.
yeah. So.
I was just curious, what's the outcome with all the plants that get pulled up? Because the management of them after they've been pulled up is important also. I know a lot of times we've stuck them in trees to die and
I'm
we've
gonna,
burned stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
so
really
what
important that the end result of it is known.
Yeah, so what we've done in the past, and we talk a lot about, like, yeah, we're really mindful that, you don't want to see a lot of those trees hanging, from the walking path. So something that I've told students about is, yes, we hang them, make sure they're kind of away from the path, but, after they're dried out, right? I've had kids go back like after that first year, and what they'll do is we'll find some of the ones that are dried out already, and what we'll do again, we'll tuck them so that they're really not seen from the path, but we'll make wildlife brush piles with the old ones.
That's awesome. Great.
yeah,
We talk about how that, what a wildlife brush pile is, and the cool part is when we've taken our students for walks, we've almost every time come upon the barred owl. And that's pretty awesome. And we talk about, you know, attracting those smaller critters and then having birds of prey around. And it's pretty cool that we get to talk about that aspect as well.
Great.
excellent.
So do we need a vote to approve?
Why not?
Somebody
Yeah.
want to make a motion to welcome the tech center? Okay, I'll make
I
a
would-
motion. Oh, I don't think I get to as the facilitator.
That's right. I'll make a motion to have welcome with open arms the the exploratory technology class to the cow pasture on the dates given, and really appreciate it.
You would want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, any final discussion? Stephanie, we lost him. How to get in touch with Susan or?
Yes, I have
Okay.
I have her email, and so what I could do is I can send her a message. I could let her know and start
Okay.
coordinating that with her.
Great, thank you. So all in favor?
Aye.
Gary, you joined us? Are you and I? Okay.
Greg.
Greg, I don't know why I call you Gary all the time. I'm sorry.
I'm an I.
Okay, thank you.
I saw his
Not
lips move.
much.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie, you're welcome to stick around if you'd like. Okay.
I have to unfortunately go do a couple things. It's
Yeah.
laundry day.
I get it.
But thank you guys, and I'll message Susan, and I'll let the kids know on Monday that we got the official thumbs up.
It's so exciting. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Guys, have a good day.
You
You
too.
too.
Alternative meeting locations. Was that yours?
That was me.
Okay.
I don't really have much to add to it. I'm not a huge fan of meeting here, and I thought that maybe there was other options because I had heard that there was other committees that were meeting at the BOR, but I was in touch with Nicholas and he said that the only committees that meet in those places have access to them. He said that anybody trying to meet in those buildings after hours would have to hire somebody, they could have to pay someone overtime to come and unlock doors and deal with things. So we're kind of stuck with this location for now. I also realized that our next meetings will potentially be up at the cow pasture.
Mhm.
So that's nice.
In which case, I think we have permission to just record it, so we can record it on somebody's phone. We don't
Do we
have
need to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you read into that? I didn't read that.
We're supposed to, yeah, even though we're not offering it hybrid, we have to record the meeting because it's public and then put it up on the
Okay.
website. But we all have phones and I
I was
think.
gonna say, who's got the space on their phone?
Yeah,
Just a voice recording?
Yeah.
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 You don't need to like,
no,
people talking.
no, we don't. So we can just put it down and let it run. So,
And then I will continue this conversation on and off with Nicholas until next fall and see if any other options open up.
The other option, I was excited that one of the groups was reading at the Barre Social Club. And it come to find out, I stopped in and asked about it, but he is on the Recreation Committee, I think it's called, and he's one of the
Cat.
owners of the Barre Social
If
Club.
someone here was a member of that, I think we would have access to it, but I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I think the other problem is that they normally shut down at 5 o'clock.
They do,
So
okay.
she,
Yeah.
you know, she's there because she's the
Yep.
owner of it. So I
Totally.
don't know if that would
Okay.
work.
and that might cause some problems with the Zoom and the technology or whatever, although they probably
Well,
have
we
it.
used, we,
Computer.
yeah, we did it before. We just need the login. The
Oh, yeah,
city
we just won't
login,
have the
and-
L.
That's true. We wouldn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
that.
they might have it out.
And we just put the
Yeah,
someone's
it's a-
computer at the
Yeah.
end of the table.
It's a remote working
Right.
place, so I'm guessing they have it also.
Yeah, they probably do.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. They
Okay.
close at 5.
Okay. So, yeah, so I think hopefully the next one will be at the cow pasture. And Jim and Emily, it's right at the entrance by the kiosk at the top of, what's the name?
Maplewood,
Maplewood.
Sort of the main entrance.
where we
Yeah.
met.
We usually bring
Okay.
chairs and
Greg,
it was Jim. I
oh,
think.
Jim,
Jim.
I just
Okay.
said, okay.
okay, great.
I'm not
And bring
speaking
those
much.
with-
I'm a project manager and I usually am facilitating meetings all day. So if I sound tired, that's probably why.
You and me both. So I think everybody here too. All right, Ursa Subcommittee updates. Okay, I want to do time check because I know that that's gonna take a while. So Chris, is that you or are we sharing?
I think we can share.
Okay,
I've been in touch with Zach and he has indicated that he was out of state and he was coming back and he was gonna prioritize the finalizing of the draft trail assessment. So we're waiting for that. The subcommittee has just been looking at that and anxious to share it with the full committee, but it just needed to more work before we shared that. So hopefully that'll be coming soon for the full committee review and comments before finalizing that. You want to take something?
I'll try. The subcommittee for this Ursa grant, myself, Jeanette and Chris met on, I think, Monday night this week. We were working with Janet Shatney, the city
Planner?
planner.
Yeah, she's like the director of
I was gonna
planning.
call her clerk, but yeah.
No,
And we're trying to get the budget items squared away. I think that the city at this point has probably fronted somewhere in like the $30,000 to $40,000 range. So they're trying to get the reimbursements for the land purchase that was successful, and then also the trail building and the draft plan money. So they're in the process of trying to get that money reimbursed through the grant from Forest Parks and Rec. And we have had some challenges squaring things away, but I think we're at a good spot now.
Mhm.
We've got a spreadsheet that we were working on Janet with, and I think things are looking pretty good there.
and a report, a progress report.
And yes,
well.
and we updated the progress report also to say, like the progress of each individual item that's required under the grant, and how far complete it is at this point. Like, for example, the property purchase is 100% complete, and then I think we flagged the trail assessment at the 50 to 60% range, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna work with Janet to get that information squared away, and I think that she's under pressure to get that into the state to get the money reimbursed, so that should happen pretty soon.
And just to add to that part of that, when we send that in, I think it was a decision to send in our request for a grant
Yes.
amendment at the same time.
Yes.
And I think we've discussed that in previous
Mhm.
meetings. There are 3 spots that, that with the trail assessment, there was recommendations for trail reroutes. So it doesn't make sense to be digging up a trail that really kinds of needs a reroute just because the footing is not great. So we, in light of, and these recommendations came from a 2017 management plan. So it's been quite a while since anyone looked at this. So, so there's three, and then the other additional change is that now we have the Ford property, and that kind of made for a potential realign, we can actually work on that property now that was once private property. So we justified the three sections of the grant that we said we were gonna do, and are asking that if we could postpone that to, apply for an additional grant, because the grant monies that we asked for just will, it's a total different scope than what we put in for the grant.
Yeah, there were projects that we proposed, what, 4 or 5 years ago now at this point.
Right.
And then by the time we actually got to them, I was like, all right, this project doesn't make sense anymore. I don't think there's gonna be any issue with it. PR saying that's fine.
Yeah.
They were all pretty small projects. They weren't major purchases or anything, so.
Yeah, so we're really on track, I
I
think.
think we're 4,000 under budget or so right now. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yep, and we
So-
have, the big thing is the trail assessment and the signs, putting up the signs and, like,
Maps.
And is it 2 projects that the committee has to do
correct.
per the amendment? 2 work projects that we said the committee will do?
Yes, thanks
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, the M2 trail, or M12 trail, that we're gonna work on a trails day. And then also the, side trail coming up from, Sheridan Street,
Yeah.
which is now the Ridgeline Trail. We can start talking about these trails
I
with,
never remember the
with
numbers.
names.
Is that S3?
It is a
Yeah.
S3
That's
trail.
S3. And which one is M12?
M12 is the main one that is, now called, the Wolf Tree
The Wolf Tree,
Trail.
okay,
Yeah,
yep.
so it's on the other side of the stream.
Up the hill from the
Yes.
stream, okay.
And then also, side
Yeah.
trail 3, which, the trail assessment recommended, closing.
Yeah.
So S3 is the other one, and it's just a matter of closing that off.
What work would be on S3?
What's S3? It's from,
S3 is the one from Sheridan.
from Lund. Oh, I'm sorry, so I have the wrong trail. S3
S3
is
is the one
from
that I've
Lund.
been working on with Bob Losa. It's S3.
Yeah, it's the one coming up from
Okay,
the
ones.
Lund
Okay,
property. It's just the section between the new trail and the main
Oh,
trail
and that
on the
needs to
other
be
side of
closed
the
off.
stream. He recommended it, he said there are too many
Right.
junctions and, that you wanna not have too many decision points. And now that we have that other trail,
Mhm.
and that trail is in need of work, rather than, and it's right by the stream too.
Right.
So that was his recommendation.
Yeah. Okay, so we probably should start finding some trail working dates, right? Sometime, I think we have,
That's on there.
it's on there, okay. Yep, great.
I think this was since the last meeting that I ordered tools and received them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I have a bunch of trail tools.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of busy. We just wanna get
Yeah.
a lot of this done, before everyone gets so busy in the summer.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that we'll be well over the hump after trail days and we get those committee projects done.
Yeah, and I think that, now for the grant subcommittee is probably the time to start looking for other grants coming up, but I think we have to see what the landscape is and what the granting landscape is right now and availability, so.
Yeah, see how that goes.
We'll have our ear to the ground on that.
I did look at the due dates for the recreation trails grants and another grant or I forget the name of it. But they were like at pre-applications in October, both of them, if they are going to have, funding program.
Yeah.
Based on history.
Okay, good. Anything to add to the update? Any questions about the Ursa grant? The Ursa grant, just for the uninitiated, is bought a parcel of land and also built the new trail section with the new bridge, among other things. So. Okay, advisory group updates, conservation and access.
Yes, update for that. We finally got, the language from the attorney for the city, for the agreement with Bob Loso. So, we found out, that what we had a trail that we thought was all on city property, but it actually crossed, I think we mentioned this to you, Emily, it actually crossed private property down towards Sheridan. So we approached the property owner, and he's in agreement to sign an agreement to allow public access. And he reviewed that. The city attorney reviewed it and altered the language somewhat. And so I took a copy of that to the property owner, and he agreed with the changes. And so now it's back to the city to finalize that agreement, and we'll get Mr. Loso to sign that, and it will be good to go for, I think it's 3-year term. He requested to have the opportunity to review it every 3 years to make sure that, there's no issues.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Great work.
So that's done.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats.
Well, it's not done
Yeah.
until we get it from the city,
Yes.
but
It's on the right track.
So do you think like I know you've reached out already and Nicholas has been out of the country, so I think
Right.
you're gonna reach out in another.
yeah, is he back? Does anyone
I don't
know?
know.
I didn't know he's out of the country, but I've been emailing him back and forth about multiple things, and he's
Okay.
been responding, so
Well, I
I feel bad if he's
I
out of the
sent an
country.
email and got
vacation.
an automatic reply saying I'm out of the country on a family emergency.
Oh.
But this was a few weeks ago, so you since,
I've sent him probably a couple days ago. I started back and
Okay.
forth with him,
All
and he's
right.
been responding,
All right. So,
and I didn't
yeah.
get an auto response.
okay, I'm sure it was gut buried. I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I'm sure he's buried also.
Yeah.
okay.
Great.
As usual.
Yeah, so I think that's.
And you're gonna be having a meeting with the group coming up.
Right, yeah, we're gonna have, next Monday, I believe it is, we're gonna be having an advisory committee meeting, to discuss some, additional access issues that we have with, public or private use of public lands, on some paper streets. So we're gonna be initiating that conversation next week, amongst our advisory group.
Like parking and stuff like that.
Well, we've got two paper streets that are city property. One is being used as a driveway and the other one has been used for all kinds of things on,
Okay.
so we just need to.
The primary focus, I think, might be though, the one where
Franklin's.
where the Crow Trail
Yeah.
starts off of
Mhm.
Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be, hopefully putting, signs with this grant,
Yeah.
there, so, it'd be.
Yeah, it's not, I don't know if there's, the paper street where Johnson is a paper street, there was actually a legal agreement with that property owner at one time, right?
Oh, no, the other one,
Yeah, the other one, but with this one, there's no issue like that we're aware of.
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of
Awareness.
awareness, yeah.
And just, approaching the landowners on each side and coming to terms with the fact that this is
Public.
city-owned land and it is city-owned,
Mhm.
paper street. So people can and should be able to access the trail system onto the former Ford property.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not a very sustainable trail, right? It's pretty steep and
It's-
eroded.
Yeah.
There's not much space to go anywhere there, though.
Is the trail assessment, did he address that at
I'm
all?
not
in the
sure.
trail
He
assessment?
didn't because we didn't own that property. The city didn't own that property at this time. So the trail where the trail comes out and forks and, now we're looking and that was part of the request for, a delay in finishing that project because now we have the ability to work on that piece of property. And whereas before we didn't, it was private property. So this was, this was a newer event.
That's great, though.
Yeah.
That means that Zach will be willing to put that trail on the maps.
Yeah.
and
Right.
Great,
deal with. That was an important part of this.
yeah.
And the S3 trail.
Yes, because wasn't willing to put any private property trails without signed written permission on the map, so that's great, that's a great step.
And I don't think we necessarily need signed written permission for this because it is the paper street.
Right, that is
For
city
the-
property, right.
City
I'm
property.
talking about the one that he's got the
S3.
agreement
S3,
for.
yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Well, I haven't GPSed the other one. I'm assuming that it's on Paper Street. But I would just, yeah, I don't know if that's a,
We'll see.
yeah, I don't know, that's a, maybe I shouldn't have opened my mouth.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you, great work.
Yeah.
Another expansion. Invasive plant control, well, we had a nice talk with Stephanie and Tim about invasives, so
And that's
anything
kind
else
of
to add?
Susan's thing and she's not here.
She's not
so-
here, so,
Yeah, she said, I told her that she can update us at the next meeting
Yeah.
of the burn, from our one initiative.
well, the
I
burn,
wanna know that story for sure.
well, it happened.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
so,
I feel like I failed her somehow, but.
you know,
Out.
new day, new
Yeah,
adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the burn pile is burned, so it is no more. Okay, National Trails Day planning.
So I think that was the date which is on the agenda, National Trail,
June.
is Saturday, June 7th.
7th,
And
yeah.
I don't know if that is the date that you want to, we discussed using that date as a date for reaching out to the public and getting help on the S8 trail and the S12 trail and then the S3 trail were the targets for that day. I'm wondering if I'm gonna make a recommendation that, like Jim and maybe Mark coordinate with that effort, if that's possible. I know that you've been working really hard on the URSA grant, and so I don't know if you.
My birthday's on the 6th of June, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna be doing that
You're
weekend.
around that weekend.
Okay.
And I'm going to Portland sometime in June, but I'm not sure, Portland, Oregon. So I'm not sure, but those dates haven't been finalized because
No.
it has to do with.
No,
My travel dates haven't been finalized, but yeah, so maybe.
because it's not too soon, because we're not gonna be meeting again
Till
before
May.
Till May.
then, so I'm just wondering if somebody could,
What's the 14th look like? Or,
Danielle's birthday. We basically I have my birthday weekend and then she has her birthday weekend. It's a pretty good time of year.
yeah,
We get to choose what we're gonna do. Was there any thoughts about Green Up Day as being a potential day to do work? 'Cause
We
I
had-
know-
But I thought.
We had
Were we gonna
talked
try to
about,
shift away from that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, the only
To
reason
do
we're gonna
rivers
shift away
stuff?
was to not do like physical green up. Yeah, but then we did invasives last year, and we just figured it was too much of a conflict.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get pulled in multiple directions on that day for the rivers.
Right.
Oh, me
the river
too.
Task force group that I'm
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah,
Well, what do you think about you and I getting together at some point soon and talking about this and figuring it out?
Yeah.
Why not, Mark?
yeah, we can do that for trail.
For like a day or
Yeah.
two to schedule something, and put it
Yeah.
together. I
And
know it's gonna come on quick, but
I don't know if we need to make a motion to have you two as kind of an advisory, and coming up with that and communicating with, I don't know if that's allowed, and then maybe Emily, you could help with the reach out for, we haven't had we've put on Front Porch Forum but maybe if you could be included in that and pull in your skill set to find more enthusiasm. And I didn't want to bring it up, but I was thinking that Stephanie's class, if, getting a bunch of 20 high school kids that are
That sounds
enthused
scary.
about being there, that we could what?
that's scary.
Okay, well,
No, I'm just
It's being recorded.
But you would think that they would love that skill
Yeah, totally.
set and
Yeah.
experience,
That's
and their
excellent.
teacher, Tim, who has experience on trails
Yeah.
as well. So that is like a huge group of people that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Well, and we've had, which church group was up there too?
it's the one next to the library. But that was only because they had a group of students from Texas. I think
Oh.
that was like
That was a one-time deal?
that was a one-time
Okay.
deal.
Well, I know, I mean, Chris Hunt's gonna be in Barre City and,
My neighbor.
yeah, your neighbor, and he's a trail builder,
Yeah.
and Stacy, who's on our advisory group committee, she's got trail building experience, so we can, we can get some.
Yeah, and I don't know if we want to get it too big, because as far as that, we don't want to get it any bigger than what we have, people who can actually supervise. And so I think that's you and, Jim and, and maybe there needs to be, if there's some other good trail builders, Tim maybe being one of them. You could meet and, find find the 3 areas and
Yeah,
have
that's-
somebody who knows what
Yeah.
needs to be done.
That's on my list to go do by myself at some point, so I guess it would be nice to do with some other people, like actually go up and flag the spots and figure out
Yeah.
what needs to be done.
Well, maybe there's some easier things that could be assigned, like you could assign me the supervision of making water bars. Or
Okay.
something that I can't mess up too much with a group of, whatever
20 kids.
volunteers.
You could
No.
mess up water
Oh,
bars.
you don't
let me tell
Okay,
you.
okay,
You
so
can mess up
something
a water
else,
bar.
that's pretty straightforward,
2 feet
even
deep.
raking or
Oh,
something.
he's not being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I know, so maybe not water bars, okay, raking leaves, how's that?
We'll figure out.
That's controversial
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my
It is
gosh.
very controversial.
I'm not in the business.
I think that will help you like.
Trail
close
people are a
up
little-
the tree. And that
Yes.
might be something we might talk to Stephanie about, because if their group, Susan was reminding me that she, gives the class, she shows them areas and she kind of gives them, what area do you want to work on? But we can suggest to her, and I'd be, glad to do that if you think it's appropriate, that when they cut brush, well, it might have seeds on it. If there's no seeds, I'll mention it to Susan.
You're saying
but
for closing off a trail?
S3,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Well, they don't,
No, not S.
no, I keep saying
Yeah, I know.
S3, it's S.
Yeah, what
it's-
needs to be done on S3?
There's some water bar minor work.
Okay, on that steep side.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
what's the trail that needs to be closed?
The ones to lungs, and it is,
It's the one by the bridge?
it's,
Yeah,
I
that
think it's
goes up,
S2, I've
yeah.
got a mark right over I think it's S2, yeah. I think
Closing a
it's-
trail's not too hard.
No,
The kind of thing where if you had a bunch of kids to go pick up
cut brush and drag it.
logs in the woods and
Yeah.
leaves, armfuls of leaves. And
Yeah,
replant some ferns here or there or
Yeah.
something, it's pretty
Okay.
easy.
yeah,
Okay.
S2, so I think that might be something.
For not skilled people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so if you can identify some things for low skilled that we can't do too much damage, then, yeah,
You can, yeah.
okay.
We'll figure it out.
Emily, are you gonna do social media for us?
I would be happy to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will also, give you the login info for the Gmail, email account, so you have that, we can do that after. So.
Cool.
And who has the social media? I think, does Tim still have access to that? He
I
could
don't-
make you an admin.
He has the Facebook.
Did he,
He
yeah,
was
did
the
he
one-
already pass that on? He wouldn't have passed it on to me, he would have known better.
Did he pass it on to Suzanne?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
Susan has
They
access.
so
remember-
Susan could probably make you an admin.
Oh, and she'd be fun to work with, like that, between the two of you,
Mhm.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
very creative.
Yeah.
She's very creative in that.
Is there an Instagram too, or just a Facebook?
I
or-
think there is an Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah,
I should have looked prior, but I didn't, yeah.
well, it wouldn't have been super active anyway, but there's
Okay.
gotta be one hanging around from when Tim was still
Okay.
doing it.
And you mentioned you said people aren't on Facebook anymore, you mentioned something else, another platform.
Well, TikTok, but, I don't know if we have, I don't know if we have the bandwidth to add another social channel.
Maybe one day.
Let's
A
work
future
up
goal.
to that.
Yeah.
I forgot that it was TikTok,
I
okay.
can see we could have a lot of fun with TikTok, but
Okay.
some interviews with Mark.
No.
So for
Some
National
dances.
Trails Day, so what I have
Dances.
is that Jim
Mm.
and Mark are going to plan
Yes.
TikTok.
and keep the committee in.
Okay,
And so we just have to always keep reminding ourselves that when we send out emails, that we can't all be talking together. You can
Yeah.
only respond to, because then that's considered a conversation, which is against open meeting laws.
Public meeting then, yep.
So, and I try to remember to do that, but, Jeanette reminded me even sending out, the members' recruitment expectations, just to remind people that if you need to respond, don't respond to the whole committee because that's against open meeting laws,
Yeah.
just respond to the person that is sending the
and I
email.
think one of the pro tips about that was that when you send it, BCC everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then people won't be able to reply all, they'd only be able to reply to you.
I did not know
And if
that.
you need an instructional on how to BCC, they can show you how to do it.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
easy.
just to be.
Yes, it's just a different route. If you put
Yeah,
everyone's emails in there, everyone you send it to won't see the other emails, so when they click reply, they won't be able to reply all.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't think to do
But I
that.
feel like we
Yeah.
talked about that at some point, maybe.
Good, so I think National Trails Day, you'll come up with some ideas. Do we
Yeah, we'll
need
look
to find
into
a date now, or are we gonna just do that later?
Date now for what?
I think-
For,
We're gonna figure it
you're
out.
gonna figure
The-
it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark and I are gonna talk about it, see what needs to be done and how much time we'll think
Yeah.
we'll need, and
Okay,
we'll get the work
We can
done.
get out to the cow pasture now if you wanna take a trip.
I'm ready. I'll go up there with tools and
Yeah.
take a look.
Yeah.
Break those tools in,
great.
some flagging.
Anything else about National Trails Day before we move on?
Just that we might not be able to do it on National Trails Day.
Right, yeah.
That's
Okay.
kind of where that's headed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is member recruitment and expectations, draft revision 2, comments and revision approval. Chris, that's your item, I think.
Yeah, so there's a few documents on the web page, our cow pasture webpage, city webpage that are just outdated. And this one was one of them. It had the wrong meeting times and, it's just outdated. So I'm gonna start picking away at making revisions to those, and updating them. So I sent out with a track change, revision 2. And only received comments from Jeanette. She had a few minor revisions to the document that, just the header of one and there was like 3 minor revisions.
Yeah, you had added some specificity that probably shouldn't have been in there in terms of what the work is.
Yeah.
And what it has. Oh, it was barbed wire fence.
Barbed wire fence.
Which we didn't want to put in there.
Yeah, we didn't learn, anyway, you don't have to go into detail, but
Yeah.
took that out.
Mhm.
And then also, there was a third one, the header, it was. Can you think of what the third one was? There was just 3 things that were just not, I know what it was. You had mentioned to put in ongoing that the activities, some of them are ongoing and not, I think I had the header listed as past activities, that we've been involved in, but some of them are ongoing, like the URSA grant. So, I don't know if you want to make a motion to, does anyone have any comment? Additional, other than what Jeanette had
I
to
actually
offer?
didn't really get a chance to look at it.
I looked over it and I didn't really.
I didn't change that much from before. So.
I make a motion to accept the document with the revisions and have it posted to the website.
Second that?
Okay, any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? Craig,
Aye.
any opposed? I don't think so. Okay, accepted unanimously.
And you just did the same thing I did, and I pulled up the town forest census email, on my phone. I
Yes.
was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about
Yes.
that.
What is that?
Well,
On the agenda?
It's next on the agenda. Let me make
Okay.
sure that it is next on the agenda.
I think it was.
Is it? Okay. Good. Next on the agenda, the Town Forest Census Project. So we received an email from a researcher.
Matt Fischetti, Rubenstein School of Natural Resources at UVM.
Yeah, and it's a collaboration between UVM and the Department of Forest Parks and Recreation. And they're doing a survey. Now, there was some confusion because the survey submittal date had come and gone. Like, he reached out to us in February, but
28th
the
or
date
something.
said something in 2024.
Yeah.
Did you reach out to him and ask him?
Well, Jim looked into it,
Oh.
and like there was something else in
There
there.
was a note in
Oh.
the actual email that said, visitor, a list of questions in the census can be viewed here, and then you
Okay.
click the link and it had a due date of October 2024. But right after the link in his email, it says, no, this is a preview sample of the census questions.
Which was so
Oh.
weird because the date
think it
on
was just
it was
old.
like November 2024,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it just was really, you know.
And I think
got
that,
sense that we missed the.
I think that was
Missed the
just an
boat.
example of the last census they did or something.
Yeah, okay.
Is he a student at the Rubenstein School or is he
He
an
said it's-
instructor?
Well, he said he's a researcher, but he didn't say if he's like a
Yeah, just
postdoc
as
or grad
forestry.
person or whatever.
I'm a researcher, yeah.
So I'm looking at the survey and I kind of wish we could share it, but I don't think we can. We can share it in the meeting minutes,
Okay.
the sample, so that everybody has a chance to see it. It is. Let me see how many questions.
Sorry, I made a note about that. It's
Oh, you
almost
wanna-
40 pages long.
Oh, my
40
goodness.
pages?
Okay.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I don't mind filling this in, and I was like, oh my God, a 40-page PDF of questions.
But it was quick, it was like quick, you know.
Yeah, they're like
check-
check boxes.
check
But there's a lot of
boxes, so-
comment boxes also. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
I have the feeling that if we agree to do this, that probably a subcommittee, maybe the grant subcommittee could sit down and fill this in really quickly, or maybe Chris, you and I could sit down and do it really quickly.
yeah,
Or we fill in as much as we can and then we bring it to the group for anything that we can't answer. They're all pretty straightforward questions.
there's a little bit of the history kind of stuff in there that Jim, you were suggesting that I might, we might partner on because
Yeah, 'cause you know
it
that
goes
stuff
back
better
to
than I do.
like prior to any of you
Past
being,
management.
Yeah,
you know.
well, and
Have we
I,
participated in this before? This
No.
survey?
Not that I'm aware of.
And is there any issue, the fact that we're not a town forest?
There's a comment section in one of the questions,
Yeah.
and we were going to make sure that they call it the Barre City Town Forest, which is not
Yeah,
okay.
we're not.
Yeah.
Or Barre, what did they call it? The Barre Town Forest or something
Yes.
like that.
Well,
So it's,
there is a Barre Town Forest.
there,
Yeah, that's in Barre
Yeah,
Town,
that's
Websterville.
Websterville. That's
Right,
320.
but there is a misidentity, in the survey or in the letter.
So the-
I'm just wondering if they're confusing us.
No,
with the Barre.
so the email starts off says, we are conducting a census of all forest lands 5 acres and greater owned by a local governing entity such as a town, village, city, tribe, school district, water district, or recreation district in Vermont. So they're not specifically looking at
Okay.
classified town
Yep,
forests.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But I think they called it the Barre Town Forest, I
Yeah.
think, and it not,
We can
Oh,
just
well,
make
ma-
that
or-
clear.
okay, so I would suggest, I can reach out to Matthew and see if we even qualify,
That's a good idea.
because
like
we're
we
not
do.
a town forest.
But
But
it
in
sounds
the-
like just from.
Yeah, I
it
know,
does,
it does,
it
but-
does,
Yeah.
Before we put all this work in,
No,
Doesn't
I'd confirm with reach
Oh.
out to him, no, I'm saying, if you
Oh,
wanna
yeah.
reach out to him, yeah,
Yeah.
confirm that we're eligible, and then it makes
Yeah.
sense for us to do, and also figure
Okay.
out the timeline, deadlines,
Okay.
start there and see what he has to say.
And what I have to, what I'm wondering about is if we should ask permission from the city to do this, or just notify them that we're doing this.
Yeah,
And maybe reach out to
Notification-
Nicholas.
Notification's a good idea.
yeah.
And are
probably.
there any other properties in the city that might make sense, like with the corridor along the Stevens branch that is potentially a bike trail, does that add up to 5 acres of city-owned land that's forest?
Hmm.
Just to get those things classified.
But it's not managed as
not.
anything
It's
like
not.
that. This, we are managed as a public.
Mhm. I just don't know if there's any benefits to aside from cow pasture, because I know that that's a potential rail trail area, so I don't know if there's any benefits to making sure the city is on top of getting anything that's town forest recognized under this or city-owned forest land. Anyway. It's just
Yeah,
kind of a
it's
side thought I
interesting,
had.
like, I was just noticing that map, it has the city-owned land as private land, it's labeled
Oh,
here.
Mm.
This is the, like, the Ford property, it says
Right.
private land.
well, it was
which
at the
isn't
time the
now.
map was.
And then this is all city land, and
Yeah.
it says private
Oh.
land, so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's all part of the cow pasture now.
Yeah. I do want to say that there are questions that have nuance in them, you know, agree, strongly agree, disagree. So whoever fills this out would probably have to use their judgment.
Mhm.
So if the committee as a whole is okay with that,
I trust you.
Yeah, we trust your judgment.
okay, so
Maybe a bad judge.
should-
I don't mind, I
Okay.
don't mind doing
do
that.
we have to vote? Well, we didn't vote on you two doing Trails Day, and we didn't vote on, do we have to put that up for a vote? We're not subcommittees, we're just,
Your committee members who are
Who are
working on
doing
a
work.
project, yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
Anybody have any objections to the various pairs doing?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not,
Okay.
like, not more
Okay.
than.
Yeah.
Or-
okay.
Mark and I aren't really gonna do anything other than propose dates at the next meeting,
And
probably.
go for a hike and dig some trenches.
Yeah, which
That's great.
I would just go do anyway.
Not trenches, you don't want.
I'm
to dig
sorry.
trenches.
It's like calling wetland soil dirt.
Please
don't do
fire
that.
me for any trail
I
work.
mean, trench implies, you know.
Next thing she'll be out there with an excavator.
I know, yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
Only I
Is
can
there-
drive one of them.
Yeah.
And I was incorrect, there is another, of course, another meeting between now and National Trails Day. It's
Yeah.
Well, there's the
Monday,
May meeting.
Yeah.
Which I have to miss, unfortunately. I haven't told you yet. I have to travel and it's the only time I can go, so. Okay, so we'll see if we're eligible. If we are, we'll ask Nicholas for permission. And then maybe, Chris, you and I can start chipping away at it. If we have any doubt that we can
Yeah.
answer it responsibly, then we'll bring it to the committee.
And look into the timeline too, maybe it's not even
And
due
the
until November or something. then
Right.
You don't have to worry too much about it initially.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, look at that, 6:30, and is it possible that we've reached the end of the agenda
I think it is.
at 6:31?
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, any additional things that have not been noted at the top of the meeting?
You know, I didn't, you know what, I new member introduction, and under that, I didn't bold it, but I'm wondering if that should have been, highlighted as a, I think I should have highlighted established date for annual election.
Oh,
That it was
Okay.
not bolded, so I
That was
flipped
my
right
fault.
over there.
I glossed over it.
Yeah,
So
because it
thank you
wasn't
for-
bold.
Yeah,
So the requirements of the open meeting law of the city are that we have to have these 3 positions. So I think our next meeting, we should, you know, see who is willing to do these roles.
mhm.
I've been the chair,
Like,
but
I don't know who the co-chair and secretary are right now. Am I
Well, Chris is the secretary and the chair.
and the co-chair?
I used to be the co-chair, but
Well,
Janet is
And that, I
Okay,
haven't
so we need to
been.
straighten that out.
We haven't, hasn't been
Officially,
elected.
yeah.
Tim was the co-chair.
That's what I thought, Tim
Yes, he
left.
was the co-chair,
Mhm.
yeah.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
you've been.
Well, I just
sitting-
stepped in until we have elections, so,
Hmm.
Okay.
yeah.
What's your platform? What are you running on?
Don't ask me that. Not a good day to ask.
Okay.
It's being recorded.
Okay.
Janet,
Yeah,
I didn't know if maybe I could just take a minute to ask if anybody knows of any conflicts or anything that happened with the snowmobilers this winter. As far as I know, we didn't have any.
with the what?
Snowmobilers.
Oh.
Snowmobilers, was there any issues or conflicts? Anybody have anything that happened they need to know about?
I didn't even see a snowmobile up there this year.
No, and I
Really?
mentioned
Did
to
you?
Greg that,
Did you see?
a few of them snowmobilers passed me on the trail and they were very respectful and they seemed to be going the speed limit
Mhm.
and, but I only saw two snowmobiles out and they were both on that same day, but
And part of building that new trail was to separate the users.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, when I went up there this winter, I always walked the new trail.
Yeah.
So I didn't even. I
Did
didn't
you
notice
get
the
out there,
snowmobile.
Greg?
Oh yeah, I got about 3,000 miles on this winter.
Oh.
It started late and then it ended abruptly last
It
Sunday.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
sounds like
just,
you got out.
yes, trails, it was great snowmobile season while it lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sunday did it in and it was done in one day.
yeah.
So we're done for the season. I
Oh,
think
really, yeah. That makes
our
sense.
machine went down there. I think it was 4 times this winter. The snow bridge held the first time, so that was good. Next year, we're gonna have to do some brushing. We can talk about it next year.
Yeah,
There's some low branches that will need to be trimmed up. When you come down towards the stream, there's a little bench there at the Y. Through there's raising havoc with the lights on the machine. And then once you go up I call it the sliding hill, top those apple trees is a little tight up through there. But we'll deal with that next fall. But other than that, as far as I know, everything went well and the trail was good.
yeah.
Good to hear.
And so somebody, I don't know who that somebody is gonna be closing the gate and,
Yes.
I call it by the Martin property, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mark, like I said, Mark's all done, Mark Cote.
Yeah,
But he
so-
put everything up one last time. Now we got to take it down. So we wait till the ground is dry because I don't want to go in there
yeah.
still muddy and you're dealing with frost in the morning that melts and then it's sloppy.
Yeah,
So
just,
it'll be a few weeks before we go down there and pick up.
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
no hurry. I just wanted to make sure that was on your radar screen.
Yes, it is.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
So Greg, we have a meeting in September and we have a meeting in November. So you know, just to give you enough time to bring that to the agenda in one of those meetings for the fall. Probably we should talk about it in September, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so remember to bring that to the agenda when whoever the
send-
new secretary calls for agenda items. The new secretary. I was just looking over here. I
I'm
wasn't,
not a good note taker.
yeah, me
I
neither.
think you're great now.
I will. And we wanted to also mention, when you pop into the field, Peggy, her field there,
Good.
Peggy Hood.
is that, what are those trees? Those are, those funny trees that are growing all over the place.
Maple, the weird maples,
No, they're
You said
or
pine
the
trees?
walnuts.
No.
Buckthorn? Or-
buckthorn. Yeah, it's buckthorn.
Yeah.
That's really bad through there. So I'm gonna offer next summer or fall to help clean that up some. I guess she's had a few projects up there to do that and we're willing to help the snowmobile club. I know that's
That'd be-
not part of the cow pasture, but still it's access to the cow pasture for people using the
Yeah.
cow pasture. And it's overgrowing and overtaking everything up there. So just when you first pop into the field. So we'll talk about that some more later too, but
Yeah.
we're thinking
And,
about it and thinking of how we could help, so.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's, the seeds from there end up in the cow pasture, so any peripheral work would be great. I do recommend, I think we briefly spoke, you thought that was the cow pasture property when we had a conversation. But I did briefly talk about Susan, might be a good, the other committee member, not here, would be a good person to talk to about proper procedures depending on the time of year. So, yeah, she'll be good to speak to.
Okay, well, I wanted to go talk with Peggy Hood too, just to, it's her land, so start there.
Yeah,
Great.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
thank you. All right. Anything else before we adjourn?
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Is there like a newsletter? Is there an email newsletter yet or anything like that? Is there an interest in having something like that in the future? Or?
I don't know that we do enough to warrant a newsletter.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
Guess it depends on
that's,
the frequency.
yeah, I mean, if it's once a year, we could probably come up with enough.
Yeah.
But
Something-
it's always this thing, feeding the beast, having to feed the beast when you create a newsletter.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it's, yeah, you have to feed it, and then it's like, okay, then you just live to feed the newsletter. And I think as far as communications is concerned, I think we've just been stretched so thinly with the actual work and the grants and everything that we haven't really been able to focus on it, but.
But if you wanted something like that, I
Yeah.
think you could, well, I'm just thinking of something like Front Porch Forum or something. If we had like, like somebody who consistently posted, National Trails Day is gonna
Yeah.
be, we're gonna have something going on regarding that, or even notify, again, to me, we never had an official opening for the new trail, and I think that was a missed opportunity. I think we really, we need to promote the work that we do.
Yeah.
And to let the city and the residents know. And so I just,
And I think that can still happen.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the signs up yet. I think we were pushing, like holding off on that, until that new spur trail was open, which he did late last fall.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
so,
People that know of the cow pasture though, it's, they know it's there by now, I think.
I think a lot of people
Still
don't.
don't.
And I think it would be really good because part of this grant was inclusivity and, and I think we have to make an effort at that. And I think it would be great to do, maybe not on National Trails Day, or maybe we could talk about that, having it not as a work day, but just like people, being there, and there could be my husband and other people saying,
Hiking.
we're gonna
Just a
have
tour.
somebody on like certain dates, or certain hours on National Trails Day to walk people and have them comfortable with the, introduce people to the cow pasture that might not be knowing the trails or comfortable walking there on their own. So I think that could be, I know, Lucas Herring suggested that we do that one year, and we were just straight out with other things and didn't have the time to acknowledge National Trails Days. But so, we might have time if you have any thoughts on that. And, there's some people that might not be here and available on that day, but I could make it a point of finding people who know the land and to walk it and, just introduce people.
Would it be better to wait until all the signs are in place?
could.
Because we want to get people used to the loops and calling the trail names, the names, and sort of making it more of a navigable.
Yeah, and that's why we post,
Yeah.
What's the time frame for having the sign?
I think he wants to
I'm sure he
nail
wants to get
those
this
out
done.
really quick.
Done. Yeah.
And then last year, the reason he took this project is that he could do it before his high trail work is
Yeah.
done. So he jumped right on the property really early in the year, last year. And I think he's anxious to do that again and just, clear that off his plate before he can get to, other trails that are snow covered or muddy and too wet to work on. So I think it'll come quickly.
But I think having a day sometime this summer or in the fall to just invite people and take them on hikes, guided hikes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
I
I
can do that.
always would love, there's somebody who used to be on the committee, Ken Benton, and he's a naturalist,
Oh,
and he
yeah.
lives close to the property. And he just knows so much about the property. I thought it would be great if a committee member was able to keep in communication and then like every month, do like something that's going on in the cow pasture, like January. He said, you know, if you want to go hear owls, you know, he knows how many owls he's sighted in the cow pasture. And he said January is when their mating season is, and that's when you're gonna hear them.
Mhm.
And then, you know, I noticed when we were hiking, there was a bunch of helmnot, the limbs down in the area by the spring above that, and it's porcupine. And I, you know, it's really cool, you know, I looked at thinking it was, and just to be able to say, oh, if you're walking the cow pasture, all those limbs, you know, those are, the porcupine lives in the tree here. So have something once a month. I have a book who actually the author used to be Environmental Learning for the Future, this older lady, and she does for New England, just every month, like what to look for in the woods and nature. And she just breaks down random topics, whether it be owls, and she'll introduce it like on different months, you know, it might pop back up, or frogs or something. But it's a nice concept. So it would be a lot of fun to just throw something out in Front Porch Forum, like, oh, in January, this is happening in the, you know, in the cow pasture.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with somebody about like marketing and just, I know that there's not like a ton happening, but just kind of learn what's been going on and maybe talk about some ideas and things I can help with. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my partner's a naturalist of sorts, and she has mentioned doing a walk up there also this like late spring, so.
Oh, did she mention it
Danielle's-
again?
Yeah, I
Was
told her
it
to come to
the-
the meeting tonight, like to even just call in or something, but she's at a public meeting for work tonight, so she
Yeah.
couldn't, but she was
Ken and
talking.
I are talking about doing one through North Branch at the cow pasture.
Okay,
this
cool.
Spring.
Oh,
So it'd be nice to like, yeah, figure that out.
And Dan, yeah, we
She
could,
could
I mean, we could
participate.
get, it would be awesome to get as many people with, you know, experts as possible.
Mhm.
And just have I think a spring walk,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
open to the public for, you know, at all age levels.
Yeah.
Great.
Do, for the river access group that I'm part of, we have a pretty big, like not a listserv, but a list of emails that we communicate everything with. Does this group have that, or no, I didn't think so, okay.
That's
So I'm just
kind
thinking
of what
about
I
the
was
newsletters,
wondering,
like you
yeah.
want to have somebody to send it to.
it would be a good thing to build, I think, for like the long term, like a
Mhm.
group of, you know, interested parties in the cow
Yeah.
pasture. Yeah.
There are a lot of people, a lot of naturalists in this area, and, you know, people who work for Forest Parks and Rec and all, you know. all
That's
kinds-
what I had.
Yeah. But I mean, there's an amazing group of people.
There's a lot of knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And the history part of the, you know, historical part of the cow pasture as well, so.
Mhm.
I think there's like it sounds like there's like a lot of stories to tell about the
Yeah.
cow pasture.
Mhm.
So I think there's like plenty of content for, you know, I do our email newsletters at work, and sometimes I'm just given like, we're having a 20% off sale. That's it. Make an email.
Make it
So-
interesting.
But anyway, so it sounds like there's a lot more content here to work
Well,
with.
I just thought of this, though, another possibility is to ask the public, what are your stories about the cow pasture?
And that's kind of what
Yeah.
you,
That's
the
what we did
river
with the
group
river.
did. with
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
and lots of parties.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah. But, you know, as a kid, we used the sledding hill, you know, but I mean, it would be capturing that moment, and especially the, you know, like the older generation, you know, what was it like back then for you and how has it changed?
Yeah.
You know,
So can I add something to that?
Yeah.
All the things you're talking about, we do in the Snowmobile Club through social media. I mean, if you're not connected to social media, you're not gonna get the younger generation. That's how they communicate. I don't know if they all communicate on front page forum or not, but social media is where it's at. But we post all that stuff from vintage pictures to, special writing days, write-ins, whatnot, all on the Snowbees website, which forwards you to the Facebook page, and we have a lot of followers, and people are able to post pictures on our trail system, and it's a great thing.
Yeah.
You should have a social media network. You
And
gotta
we
get
do.
that started.
We do, we just don't use it.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to
Because
start.
Yeah,
I think.
and Emily, it sounds like.
Well,
Yeah.
Kind of
Is
your
that what
alley.
Emily wants to do? And
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good starting point, right, Emily?
Well, there you
Yes.
go. If you want to just pop on the Snowbees website sometime, Emily, and look at that and how it connects us with other clubs, vast, it connects to everything. So you guys would want to connect to other trail networks or whatever. It's the same thing. We do the same thing, just we're a different group. That's all.
Yeah,
For
so,
sure.
the Barre City Cow Pasture Facebook page has 847 followers. And the last post was November 14th, 2024, which was probably about the time that Tim left
Tim,
because he
yeah.
was doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think getting you set up with the access to that and having over 800 followers, that's like
Yeah.
Greg's saying,
It's
that's
a
sort
good
of
start.
where you can
Yeah.
start to get the message out and communicate with people.
Thanks.
Well, and the Barre City is pretty active on Facebook, and I don't know how active they are on Instagram, but,
You mean the actual city
the city,
administration?
yep, and then of course the partnership and all of those that we could cross pollinate. I'm sure that the social club would also share stuff.
Mhm.
And all those groups that care about stuff happening in Barre.
Yeah.
And, I should revisit what we wrote in the Ursa grant about how we promote it to people who don't usually use the cow
Yeah.
pasture for whatever reasons, and kind of revisit that again and then communicate
Yeah,
and try to actually do that part of the grant.
yeah.
Yeah, it would be
Yep.
great if in some of the documents to finalize it, we could speak to that, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
like a line item.
Yeah,
And it would set us up nicely, I think,
yeah.
in their eyes as far as like finding another grant to.
Well, I think that's where the tour, when the signs are up, I think that's where the tour just showing tiny loops to big loops and kind of saying, you know, this is something you can do with really little kids, or this you could do with maybe a stroller or something, and just kind of breaking it down into more family-friendly walks
Segments.
and
yeah.
showing different combinations, because that's kind of what we focused on too, is getting families up there who may not naturally go up there because you pull up and you're not quite sure if it's doable or whatever.
And people do get lost up there.
Yep.
Because there's no signage. Someone came down through the Perrin Fields and was on Upper Park Street, our neighbor.
Uh-huh.
They were like, they didn't know where their car was.
Oh, yeah.
So it is, you know,
Yeah,
the signage.
it is possible, yeah.
Mhm.
Greg, did you want to add something?
I was just gonna say, whatever you do like that, if you gotta have somebody that's on it, because if it gets old and stale information, you might as well turn it off.
Are you volunteering, Greg?
No,
Okay.
I thought that's what Emily was gonna do. It sounded like.
And I think
And
Tim
we
was
figured
doing
Yeah,
it for a
yeah.
while and then he just got burnt out on social media in his
Yeah.
life, so he just had to pull back.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
So he was doing.
You know, when somebody posts something, you have to have somebody that can answer it, you know.
Right, you have to respond.
You
Yeah.
gotta
it's the
have a
same.
response, and
Yeah.
so yeah, you have to have a master person to, that's the right word, to use it, keep it up and answer.
Okay,
I
well,
don't,
well,
I
we
don't
thought
do,
we were gonna
sorry, I'm
have
gonna make this
time.
go till 7.
you really are. Okay, go
I
for
don't
it.
do much Facebook stuff,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't mind having admin privileges for Facebook
Okay.
page also.
Yeah, I have to see if I have them, but if not, Susan definitely.
Susan does, okay. I'll get in
Yeah.
touch with her then.
Yeah,
I don't have a Facebook profile, so I really doubt that I've got it.
yeah,
You better just stay away from it.
yeah.
So that could be an agenda item for our next meeting.
Yeah, and it could just be on the Meta platform, so that you could have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Since it's all in the same.
I deleted Instagram a while ago.
Okay,
So
so for the next time, it sounds like we should talk about maybe some trail opening programming.
Yep. Trail work.
Ideas, trail work. And maybe more brainstorming around how to recruit maybe some naturalists to do some programming. Kind of dip into that rich pool of people that we have here interested.
Right. Well, I can tell you it's in the works for Ken.
Good.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. And then maybe, I don't know, do you want to have some time set aside just so you can throw some ideas out?
Sure.
Then?
Sure, yeah, that would be great. And I'd love to, if possible, to speak with one of you, whoever might, yeah, have some info on what we've been doing, just to kind of gather
Yeah.
research.
Well, I can talk to you about that and
Okay.
also just show you what we submitted for the grant in terms of how to communicate about the cow
Okay.
pasture and how to
That's
reach
great.
people who don't,
Okay.
who haven't discovered it yet and who may not be, you know, brave enough to get lost up there. So, but have always been interested. So, we can maybe talk sometime about
Perfect.
that.
Okay, sounds good.
Good. Okay. So we have lots going on. Are you ready to adjourn? Well, make the motion. You don't have to whisper it. You can say it.
I was making sure you were done.
I'm done.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, meeting adjourned. We don't have to vote. It's a non-votable motion.
All right.
All right.
Okay. All right, Jim, thank you for joining us. Greg?
You're welcome.
see
I don't know if the video's working here.
Yeah,
You
we
see
can-
me? Oh,
Yep.
there I am.
Yeah.
I just dropped in because I was a little curious, but I'll tell you, I'm thinking of retiring here not too long, and I'm looking for some volunteer type stuff. So if something comes along, and like I said, I use the park here on a semi-regular basis, so might be a good place to start.
Yeah, and you know, look for the work days. You don't have to be on the committee to come and help. Green Up Days is one, and then these guys are coming up with some other work days. So, you know, it's a good way to kind of get to talk to people and without making the commitment.
Great.
Where's Spruce Street, Jim? You said you lived on Spruce Street? I didn't even know we had a.
Smith.
Smith.
Oh,
Smith.
Smith Street.
Yeah, I heard you mention Lucas too. I worked with him for about 2.5 years at the state.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Another state.
Well, thanks for coming, Jim. We look
Yeah.
forward to having you out with us at some point.
All right, well, it's good meeting you all, and we'll probably see you again here sometime.
Great.
Yeah,
Excellent.
sounds
Great.
good.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Greg.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.